Hello Year 10 and welcome to a feedback video telling you some of the good points and some of the points to improve from your literature task 1, which was about Macbeth, witchcraft and the supernatural. I've taken in the answers that I've received and thank you to everyone who did submit those, and I'm going to give you some general feedback and then pick out some of the best examples of what went well and how we can improve using some of your work. So let's begin. Starting then with overall feedback, the good and the points to improve. General positives were that you were opening your sentences and your paragraphs with good points, so you were generally answering the question clearly in your first sentence. Many of you were choosing appropriate quotations as well, so you would be able to back up your points, and it made sense that the quotations you chose were quotations that related to the supernatural. Many of you were also able to refer to dramatic techniques, such as Macbeth giving a soliloquy, and this added to the quality of your answer in terms of the terminology you were using and your overall knowledge. General areas to improve, however, were the paragraph structure. Many of you were not following either IMQ-ETC or even PQE, and that's an issue because it makes your answers hard to follow and it makes it harder for you to construct an argument. Many analyses lack depth. I am still not seeing enough show, suggest, and symbolize taking place in these paragraphs. And if you are not going into depth and picking out key phrases and talking about symbolism and how links are made to the themes and big ideas, you are throwing away marks. Finally, there were very few links to context and or the wider play. The question specifically tells you to address the wider play as well as the extract, so you cannot get away with not doing that. On another point, when you're submitting the answers through GCSE Pod, please think about how that's going to look when I receive it. This is a great example of an answer that was submitted to GCSE Pod with deliberate line breaks put into it. So it's been separated into sections. Its meaning is clear because of that. It's easy to read, and that was much appreciated by me. So please use the enter key, use empty lines to create these divisions. Because the other alternative, and this is the only one that did this, everyone else has looked like this. And the issue with that is that it's all one block of text, which makes it hard for me to separate the points that you were trying to make. And it's difficult for me to fully understand your meaning. And it is an absolute nightmare to read from a screen. And please bear in mind, yours isn't the only answer that I'm reading. So the more you can do to make my life pleasant as I'm reading your answers, the better for everybody. Now we're going to move on and have a little look at some specific answers, anonymous in this case. I'm not going to name whose answers they were. I'm going to talk about what made them good and what improvements could be made. So what I want you to do is watch this carefully. Think about your answer, and think about what I'm saying and how that applies to your answer. Okay, so the first answer that I'm going to look at here had a glaring issue at the start that cost this person a lot of marks, and I need to bring it up because this wasn't the only person who had this problem. We open with Shakespeare presents supernatural and witchcraft as something that should not be messed with. Fair point, yeah, good opening point. This is shown through the use of repetition. All hail Macbeth, Thane of Glamis, Thane of Court. Right, that's my problem. This quotation did not come from the extract, which makes it very difficult to satisfy that first criteria for the answer, which is referring to the extract. The analysis is not especially convincing, but that's my second worry. I'm not thinking about that right now because what this person really needs to do straight away is make sure that they are using the extract they are given. And they are not the only person who failed to do that. So use your extract. On the plus points, this second part that the writer had here was the effect on the reader is we begin to think how controlling they were, referring to the witches, and how Macbeth was so shallow-minded that he went along with the witches. Now, this person's demonstrating some character knowledge, and actually some knowledge of how Macbeth's character moves through the play. So that is very encouraging. And went through with what they said because even though it would never come true, he wanted to believe it. Nice point again. Macbeth wants to believe the witches. He wants it to be true. So he is easily manipulated from the beginning of the play. These are great points. They're really, really strong points. And if only a quotation from the extract had been used that these points could be related to, this person would have received significantly more marks. So that person might well be thinking, oh, I made a mess of this. Actually, no. You made one mistake that cost you a lot. But simply by changing that one thing, you will make immediate progress. So here's your tip. Use the extract. And that goes for everyone else too. Next. In Macbeth, Shakespeare presents witchcraft and the supernatural to be dangerous and unpredictable. Macbeth seems to be afraid of them, but he believes them. He doesn't trust them, but he's influenced by them for the most part. Macbeth seemed to be scared of the witches at first, but came round to believing them and listening to them. Every single one of those points is absolutely correct, but I only needed one of them to start with. So what's happened here is they've overdone it. This person has done too much. In fact, what they could have done was add in Macbeth. Shakespeare presents witchcraft and the supernatural to be dangerous and unpredictable. Full stop. Move straight onto this bottom part. The quotation cannot be ill, cannot be good suggests the witches are deceiving and unpredictable, as stated in the quotation. And then gone back to Macbeth seems to be afraid of them, but believes them. He doesn't trust them, but is influenced by them. Because each of those points, afraid but believes, influenced but doesn't trust, link back to cannot be ill, cannot be good, that paradox. So the big problem for this person was the structure of their paragraph was not strong enough to carry their argument, and they've ended up making 4 points before they've even used a quotation. That's cost them marks. But again, it's an easy fix. Make 1 point, put that quotation in, and those other points you wanted to make them part of the analysis. Here we have a longer answer. Let's have a little look. In this extract, Shakespeare presents the supernatural as a powerful factor in Macbeth's character. All right, nice. Witches' prophecies affect Macbeth's thoughts to himself, shown in the quotation. If good, why do I yield to that suggestion? Okay, good quotation chosen, strong point made. This suggests he's starting to think about the possibilities and can imagine the outcome if the witches were right. I can't disagree with any of that, although I would like to see a little bit more clarity here. What outcome? And why does it unfix his hair? Can we get some more detail here? What this person does really well now, though, is they're about to start taking apart the quotation. Powerful image, good terminology, of anxiety, perceptive, shown in unfix my hair. A physical response. Yield also suggests his mind goes straight to the idea of murder. That's great. That is a really good point to make. There's an opportunity right there to link it to Lady Macbeth, her right mind going straight to the idea of murder as well. And those opportunities do pop up throughout this answer, but they're not taken, and that's the big issue here. We've got several great pieces of analysis of the quotation, but we don't get links to the rest of the play, and unfortunately we don't get any links to the context. So this person is not at this point telling us about how Shakespeare is demonstrating the dangers of ambition or playing on people's beliefs in evil spirits at this time. And that's the reason that this person did not score more highly than they did. Another long one here, in fact slightly longer, and split into 4 quite clear sections. Presents supernatural and witchcraft in this extract by using Macbeth's character and his actions and response to the witch's prophecy. So we've got method in the point there, that's really nice to open. His soliloquy, we have a good quotation. Paradox, yep, so nice sophisticated language being used. The witches might be deceiving him, but he doesn't want to dismiss the prophecy. Okay, good character knowledge. So everything here is very convincing so far. It's a great start. Shakespeare also presents supernatural and witchcraft in the quotation. Now this is where this person falls down, because they are demonstrating really great overall knowledge. They can talk about the play quite confidently, but instead of then going on to analyse this in more depth, giving me some suggest options, going to symbolism, we move straight on to another quotation, and that happens a 3rd time here. So what I end up with is quite a shallow overview. What we've basically got here are 4 beginnings of what could be very good long paragraphs. This final paragraph is where This person made links to both context, notice audience is fearful of witchcraft, and also the wider play. That earned them a mark or two, but it is a bit of a list of things that happen. And what would be better would be to see references to the concepts or references to the wider play weaved into the symbolism and links that we get from these quotations. So here, we've got great knowledge on display, quite a confident writing style, but the structure of the paragraph hasn't been fully followed and we haven't had enough depth to really step into the top and upper levels of the mark stream. So here's what you need to take away from this. 1. Watch all the videos and read all the instructions that I give you every week. A couple of people clearly had not done that, and their answers made virtually no sense in relation to the question because they hadn't looked at the supporting material on class charts. You're throwing it away if you don't do that, so please make sure you do that. Next of all, plan your answer before you write. It will be easier, your answer will make more sense, and you'll be able to write more if you have thought and made some notes before you begin. If you're not sure about how to plan and you're working through it, it's absolutely fine to send me a picture of the plan that you've done. Submit it via class chart. Send me a message on class chart saying, "Sir, I've submitted a plan. Can you just have a quick look and tell me if it's all right?" I'll be happy to do that. So please make sure that you plan your answers. Follow a paragraph structure. Now we teach IMQ-ETC in the classroom. Idea, method, quote, effect, terminology, context. But honestly, I'm happy for you to use point quotation, explanation, PQE. As long as you have a paragraph structure that you are following, so you say, right, 1 point, 1 quotation, long explanation, it doesn't matter to me, and it doesn't matter to you either. IMQ-ETC is detailed and it's useful, but if you're not able to make sense of it, and I'm not there to directly ask, use something more simple so it suits you. Please remember show, suggest, and symbolize when you do your explanation of the effect, okay? Show, suggest, and symbolize take you through each level of depth. They are a proven method for getting higher marks, so please make sure you do that. And remember that symbolism comes down to ambition, fear, guilt, the basic themes of the play, and link to the wider play and context. Even if it's just one sentence, this is reflected when Macbeth does this later. Lady Macbeth also shows this ambition. Just something like that, that says, do you know what, I've actually read the rest of the play. Because I need to see that if I'm going to give you credit for really anything above 10 marks. So please get that done. And with all that said, that's the end of the feedback. I don't need you to rewrite the answers that you've done. Although if you choose to do that, you can submit it to me and I will give you feedback on that improvement. What I do expect you to do is use this feedback to make sure that the next piece of writing that you do for me is better. So think about this, take it away, take your time with the answers, ask me any questions you need to before the deadline, and I look forward to reading what you've done next. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye.